is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are continuing our top 100 games of all time in the year 2020. This segment is going to be 80 through 71, so we are slowly inching our way, get into the top 50. And I don't think people quite get that these are the best 100 games of all time. This is a definitive, objective list. Every game on here is good, from my point of view.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get started. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. And yeah, let's talk about my number 80, which is new to the list and skyrocketed 20 spaces up, which is actually pretty impressive. And that is Forgotten Waters. Plaid Hat Games has redeemed themselves after the abomination that was Gen 7. Man, was Gen 7 just bad. Forgotten Waters, I was skeptical whenever they announced it. I was like, I don't know. Like, they had Dead of Winter, and then they had nothing in Gen 7, which was, I'd rather get nothing. But this game is such a fun experience. It is kind of a worker placement game. You have your workers that you assign to a different spot that is cooperative within players. Like, each person goes to a section and they do an action off of that sheet. But the real meat to this game is in its narration. This is such a fun adventure that you go on through the app. And one of the legitimately funniest, stories that I've gone on. Each campaign really has its own captain that feels fleshed out. Each character that you come across just has a personality to them that it's probably going to sit around this time or even fall off if they don't support it. That is kind of the thing with the game. Is there are, I want to say, fully voiced and great voice acting for the game. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick off the app. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 total scenarios. And the first one is actually kind of a tutorial-esque. It still is a full game, but you do omit a few components. But man, was it just legitimately funny and fun. And it has some slight real-time elements. You won't get to do quite everything that you want to throughout the scenario, but it's a good one. They did a fantastic job with this crossroads system, and I would imagine that they would support it. You'd hope with the success, and with Plaid Hat being on their own once again, I have high hopes for their future. So that's my number 80, Forgotten Waters.
All right, my number 80 was just talked about slightly.
Oh, really? Gen 7? No. Dead of Winter.
This one was number 52 years ago, 34 last year. I haven't really played it much this year, so that's why it fell down. This was the first Crossroads game, introduced all that, the awesome Crossroads deck, all that stuff. I like zombie stuff, so this was just kind of a good culmination of everything. It was just very unique at that point. And then, like you said just a second ago, they kind of fell off the rails with the Gen 7. I didn't play Gen 7, but everybody was bashing on it, so I didn't even mess with it. And I haven't played Forgotten Waters yet, but
not only was Gen 7 bad, it was expensive and bad.
Yeah, it was really expensive too. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was.
And then they had the audacity to make a fucking expansion. Yeah, this has a 6.4 on Board Game Geek, so coming through. I think it should be less just because of that price point on it. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but this one just so many characters and so many It has like the hidden objective, which doesn't necessarily make you a bad guy, but everybody has their own thing that could win and makes them look guilty. And I don't know. It's just, this was still just such a unique experience, even though it's been out for probably 5-6 years now at this point.
6 years, I think.
But yeah, it's.
Yep, came out in 2014.
Perfect. I even have I upgraded the dice to those frosty ice-looking ones with splattered blood on them. I splattered like red paint on them and stuff to make them look bloody. It's kind of a neat little deal. But yeah, that's my number 80, Dead of Winter. It's a great, still a great experience whenever it hits the table.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. I think this kind of put Plaid Hat on the map for me.
Well, I wouldn't go that. Yeah, for you, yeah. For me, it was Seven Wars.
Right. But, yeah, they've been back and forth with me.
This was their one that kind of really, I think, put them out to the general public more. Yeah. This and Mice and Mystics were like the two that kind of really put them out into the mainstream.
Right. They're a hot and cold company. Like, their games that are good are really good, but their games that are bad are really bad. So it's like they never make like a game. It's always like amazing top 100 or wow, if there was a top 100 worst, this would be on it.
Right.
That would be interesting. Can we do a top 100 worst games? I bet we could. We can probably do a top 50 at least.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'll have to look through my collection, like on Board Game Geek, and see if I can do that. Anyway.
All right, but yeah, that's my number.
Nice. My number 79 is an oldie but a goodie. It was 72 in 2019 and 95 in 2018. So probably the difference between those 2 years is that I played it more. But it's fallen just ever so slightly, and that is Power Grid.
Yes.
Oh, Power Grid. Power Grid had that stigma of, oh, it's super mathy and like you need a calculator to play. And no, you don't. Like it's not that aggressive. I would argue that Sentinels of the Multiverse had a little bit more math going on than this one does. If you don't know, Power Grid is a game where you are trying to power the most buildings, and I believe the first person who can successfully power 15 buildings wins the game. You do so by, there's a draft mechanic where you draft different types of buildings using different resources, and I mean there's coal, there's wind, there's uranium, and then I believe there's one more, oil. Maybe I think oil.
I think that sounds right. It's been a while since I played.
Right, you have like 4 resources, but of course, like the lower the resource, the cheaper it is, but the more you need of it to power a building. Versus like wind is free, but there's not a whole lot of wind cards, and they don't power that much. But you can get like the uranium or the highest resource is, and that can power anything, but it's super expensive. So there is kind of an economy to this game, and you basically are doing some slight area start on a spot on the map, and then as you branch out, you have to pay money to connect your buildings. And depending on the number of players, only certain cities can hold a certain number of buildings, so you eventually have to branch in different directions. And it's a solid game. Like, and they have different maps for it. So the base game comes from Europe and America. And then I have a few others actually, but they have like Japan, they have like the UK, and then all different areas of the world that just give you a different type of area control feel. I think this game is great. Like it just works for me. So that's my 79, Power Grid.
That's a good one for sure. Nice. It's one where the mechanics outshine the art, because I don't care for the art necessarily a lot, but the mechanics are really solid. So.
Yeah, exactly. I wish it wasn't paper money, but I mean, it is what it is.
Well, and I've said this before with this game. Like, I had a friend that went through Game Crafter and bought me 2 decks of their playing cards that replaces the money.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's kind of neat.
that would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah,
for any game that uses paper money.
Right, exactly. All right, my number 79 is new to the list. It was introduced to me by you, and I really kind of, this might be the one that I go out and buy, actually, if I can find it, and that is Project Elite.
Nice.
The only thing keeping me back from this is, even though it's cooperative, I don't know how well it would play solo. I need to see if it's doable with like two heroes, two-handed. I don't know how impossible that would be. If it's doable,
who knows, it might take away the real time in solo.
Yeah, that's true. But this game was just a blast. I don't care for real-time games. I'm starting to turn the corner on that, because this game, it is so hectic and stuff. When you're rolling the dice, you're doing your actions, you're working together, you kind of plan who's going to cover who's going to cover the base and who's going to go out and try to wreck the bosses or do whatever. It's just so nuts, but it's still a blast. And we've talked about it before. They have a ton of bosses. It'd be neat if they had some more monster groups or whatever.
Minions.
Yeah. But it's still just a super fun experience. And when you get done with a full game, you're kind of tuckered out a little bit, because it's just you're just going nuts,
just constantly just rolling dice, moving, shooting. You feel like a badass when you're playing this game.
Yeah, you're just taking
and they did it.
And he's dead. Throw that mini aside. Dead. Throw that mini aside.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why they didn't do any more minions, because they're cannon fodder. They don't really do anything special, but they are an oppressive force. But they have a bunch of bosses that are a problem. So I'd rather have more bosses than just different types of scrubs that are just kind of there to be thrown off the board.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is
a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. All right.
It would be higher.
Number.
If I would have played it more than this is off of one play. 79. If I would have probably played it 5 or 6 times, it quite possibly could have been another 20, 30 spaces higher, just because of how good it was. But
yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, it's one of those games that would be easy to get to the table.
Right. Yep.
So, oh man, my 78 is the most depressing one on my list. It has fallen quite a bit. In 2019, it was 13. In 2018, it was 6.
Oh wow!
And now it's sitting at 78.
Is it your golden oldie? Yep.
It is. Oh man, this is. I mean, probably a lot of people would have argued that this should have been around this time for the past 2 or 3 years, or not even on the list. I absolutely love this game, but whenever I was making this list and going off Pub Meeple, I had to be more objective than subjective a little bit. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit weird, but whenever it came down to, because I don't know if people don't know, the old way of how I used to was I would basically write every game that was a contender on an index card, and I would just take 2 and compare them. But then once I had a stack, then I would just kind of riffle through them until I just, this feels right, and just kind of put it there. With Pub Meeple, it's a little bit more right there, and they constantly have you, if you pick, let's say I pick Talisman and another one. If I pick the other one, Talisman will stay there until I pick it over something else. Then it moves on to another pairing. So, and then it mathematically divvies it out. And this is just where it happened to fall. And looking through my list, it feels right. But at the same time, Talisman still holds a special place in my heart. It was the first game I got whenever I got into the hobby. It is a absolute blast of a fantasy game. All different iterations of fantasy is in that game. The 70 60 plus characters that you can play with special abilities, all the different cards, the different sections of the map that you can go to. It feels like high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Pick your fantasy genre, and that's what's in this game. And I mean, it's kind of a beer and pretzels game, because I mean, you can die, your character can die, and then everything that you have drops, and then you get a new character. But it's a race to the middle to either activate the Crown of Command, which eventually just slowly kills everyone. But I always play with either a hidden or revealed alternate ending, which I think a lot of games need to incorporate a little bit more. That was one of my favorite things about Talisman, was the fact that, hey, here's the base game, but actually now there's a stack of different ways that the game can end. Revealed endings give players an objective to kind of go aim for the race to the middle, but hidden ones, obviously you don't know what happens until someone gets to the middle. I mean, I've done every video I can of this. I've had a run through of this. I've done how to play. I've done a top 10 reasons why I love Talisman. I've done the top 10 expansions of Talisman. Yeah, I don't think this will ever fall off the list, because I can't emotionally let it at the same time. But I had to come to grips. My tastes in games are changing quite drastically. So, yeah, that's my 78 Talisman.
All right. My 78 is one of those dead Fantasy Flight games.
Okay.
But I have a ton of it, and it's a blast, and that is Star Wars Destiny.
I always crack up with the way she looks.
Yeah,
on this cover.
That's not the greatest cover, but
it's great value, Ray.
Yeah. This game, and you and I still need to play it, because it's such a cool game, and I got into it really late. Like, when I decided to start buying the stuff, I started buying the stuff, and then it wasn't 2 months after I started buying stuff, they said they were stopping it. So
you single-handedly killed it. They're like, oh shit, Brad bought it. We gotta
exactly.
quit production.
Well, the good thing is, though, is when they announced it, like, all the booster cases of packs all went down to, like, because they're normally like $90 for a box of packs, and they went down to like $20-$25. So I bought a crap ton of packs, and so I have a really big collection of stuff.
Yeah.
But what would happen is you would each pack would come with one dice and like 5 or 6 cards, and you would just go through and do that. But what you do is you pick like 2 characters, and they need to be on the same, like, they need to be the Rebels or Imperial or whatever. So you create a team, and then you have your cards that you're going to play out for your deck and everything, and you play them out in certain cards. If you pay to put them out, well, you'll pull a dice out, and it'll join your dice pool, and then you're going to roll these dice, and your ultimate objective is to take out the other people on the other side. So, like the opening sets that came out, you were Rey and Poe against Kylo and Phasma. Those were the 2-on-2 that they kind of did when Star Wars Destiny began, and then you just battle until you killed the other 2. But there's just so many combinations of cool stuff. Every character and vehicle and weapon, and because you had attached weapons to them that would give them extra powers and stuff. It was a wonderful system. The dice are those big chunky dice. They're not like little tiny dice. And it's a really good, really cool experience. And it's easy just to set up a couple of decks and rock and roll with them and play too. You know, you can go as deck construction or you can do whatever. But it's a blast.
Do you think that this game would have succeeded had it been the original trilogy?
It had the original trilogy.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, okay. Like that's the thing. Like, Star Wars Destiny spanned the entire, it expanded with the books. It went with the animated series. Okay. It had every single thing that was Star Wars canon from animated, everything was in this game.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, never mind.
right. It was. I think
Why
it was
it failed.
It goes right along with Fantasy Flight's competitive games. None of their competitive games have worked because they don't handle organized play.
L5R is still going strong, surprisingly.
It's shutting down though, the LCG.
They're still making expansions.
They're making it, but they have an end in mind now. Like it's stopping.
Oh, I see.
But it's like
yeah,
their cooperative ones are where they've kind of, I think it's just because of the barrier of entry.
True.
You know, stuff like this, it's just, if you started at the beginning, you're good to go. But if you try to start now, it's just, so crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of that's the thing with almost any competitive card game. Magic, I mean, you could probably jump into Magic, but you're going to get your ass kicked for a while until you figure out the meta and how the deck build. At least with these competitive LCGs, you do have a starting point.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to, I mean, because with these, it's like they're not randomized packs. So you could be like, oh, okay, that's a good character. That would work well for me. What pack is that? Oh, okay, I'll buy that one.
Well, no, Destiny is random.
Oh, well, fuck that.
Yeah, Destiny, it was just total 5 random cards with a random dice. You did not know what you were getting. It was all. But one thing I think that hurt Destiny was throughout the lifespan of the game, they had a couple of stints where distribution killed it, because like they were like it got stagnant, the meta, because they were being slow of putting out their product. And then, when they put out the product, it'd get strong again, but then they would miss their windows and then it would just stagnate. People would drop out. And
that's actually hurting them right now. Arkham Horror LCG, like if you don't have that Team Covenant like subscription, they release like 5 fucking packs for a new story, and it's like, oh, out of print. It's like, why is it out of print? This is all you guys make. You make 2 fucking games. How are you out of print?
Yep, exactly. So anyway, Star Wars Destiny, it's a great game, just ended too quick.
Gotcha. All right, my 7 is a phenomenal game that is actually the second iteration from a game that a lot of people love, but I haven't tried the first type of it, and that is Roll for the Galaxy. So the iteration is Race for the Galaxy, which I have not tried. That's the card version of this. But Roll for the Galaxy, I have so much fun with this one. Like, this is one of those games that seems like it's extremely heavy, especially because the player screens have so much just text on them that it's like information overload, but I don't think the game is actually as heavy as it seems. You, of course, have the different colored dice that have different like faces on them, like, so, and because they represent like different things, like red's supposed to be your combat heavy dice, so they're going to have more of that type of symbol. But what you do is you start with your own planet and like your own technology, and you're kind of doing that. You're exploring the world. For a game that's about dice and dice manipulation, you actually can get a pretty cool tableau tile theme going on, like your story of you exploring space, which is, I think, pretty impressive. But yeah, what you do is you have a collection of dice that you start out with. Everyone starts a little bit different, and then you roll them and you assign them to 5 different actions, and based off the faces of the dice. And what you're doing is you will select one of those dice to place on it to ensure that you are doing that action, and then all the other dice that are underneath the little cardboard row, if someone else selects that action and you have a die underneath, they'll get to do it. So it's an interesting kind of read your opponent to be like, okay, man, I really want to explore so I can get more tiles, but I have a feeling that, Brad's going to do that exploring, so I'm not going to select that one. I'm going to select another one that I can do. And then you all reveal, and then it's like, sometimes you'll sit there and you'll be like, what? Like, I thought you were going to explore. Why the hell are you shipping stuff? And so you basically, I mean, those dice don't go to waste. They get put back in, but you only get to do one action, where your opponent might have read you a little bit better and they get to do 2 or 3. But yeah, you're essentially getting more and more dice to roll and place them on technologies, which are unique player powers, and then the planets are for resources that help you get more dice and also get you money or get you victory points. It's a fantastic game. And then the expansions just add more to it. One of them adding like unique like objectives that people can go for, and then the other one, the ambition expansion, I think is what it was called, added like a full it was ambition.
I think so.
Yeah. No. It was rivalry. Ambition was one of the expansions that added but rivalry was the newest one. That one actually added the dice forge, kind of build your own die, unique die, and then a new separate board where you can like make deals and made the game a lot more I will say complex, but very innovative with that expansion. So this is a great one. I always have a great time playing this, and it works well with any number of players. Like I like this game a lot at 2 and at 3. So that's my number 77. Roll for the Galaxy.
Good deal.
I think they're done supporting it though.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, which I think that's fine. Their latest expansion was also extremely expensive. Like it was like $80. And because I mean I bought it, you know, MSRP price, and I was like,
yeah,
that's a chunk. It's a chunk for an expansion, but you do get a lot of like plastic material in there, so it kind of justifies the price.
Alrighty. Well, my 77 is a big, heavy box full of wood.
Full of wood? Is it photosynthesis again?
No. And it's Caverna, the Cave Farmers. This one has so much crap in the box, component-wise. So many meeples of different this and that. This one.
Oh, hold on, real quick.
Yes.
Roll for the Galaxy was 49 last year and 85 in 2018.
Okay,
so
and this is the first time this one's made my list. It just barely missed.
Oh wow.
Last time
okay.
I could have swore it was on my list earlier, but I couldn't find it, so I must have just barely missed. But anyway, this one was kind of the follow-up to Agricola. And they made this one a little more friendly because Agricola, you know, you had to feed your people, and it was kind of a cutthroat deal. This one, there's so many options, and then it even gets progressed more with Feast for Odin, where there's even more options to do stuff.
Yeah,
but this
same
one,
designer. Okay.
Yeah. But this one, you can choose to build up your cave. You can go out on exploring, on adventures. You can there's so many different ways to victory on this by choosing. And it's just a really solid worker placement, like Euro game. You know, have you played this one?
I have not. It's a game that I've been intrigued by. It depends on the mood I'm feeling. It's like, yeah, no, this sounds like a really fun worker placement about farming, and then like the next day I'll be like, farming, who cares? Like,
yeah,
so
yeah, this one does it so much better. That like Agricola is so boring. This one, you don't have to farm in this if you don't want. I mean, you can raise animals, or you can go on adventures. You can do, you know, it's just kind of however you want to go for it, you know.
Okay.
And it's just, I think that's why I like it. It's just because you have the freedom to, like, some certain games, you know, there's like, okay, I'm gonna build up my cave because that's how you win. You know, like you can win a ton of different ways in this, focusing on certain stuff. You know, there's just so many different ways of getting points. So it's just,
I'm looking at this box art. And the chick, she's just like, oh, look, I'm making this stew. And that donkey looks like, yeah, you make that fucking stew. Do it. You can stir it. It just looks so like conniving and intense about it. I don't know why his eyes look like. And then there's that happy sheep. He looks so happy to be chained up around the neck with a chain and a metal collar.
He's probably getting ready to be put in the soup.
Oh, probably. Now they had a 2-player version.
Yeah, it's
Cave versus Cave.
Cave versus Cave. Yeah. I haven't played that one, but this game is very intimidating when you see it on the table. Like when you have everything laid out and you have everything, it's so intimidating looking. But it's not that difficult. It's a good one for sure. I mean, if you haven't played it, I would suggest it. I like Feast for Odin better, and that may be giving away something. Feast for Odin, I think, is the better game, but this one's still, you can own both for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I put it on the list of a game for me to try.
Yeah.
So, all right, neat. My number 76 is a game that I don't see a lot of people talking about anymore. It was new in 2019. It was at 37. So it has fallen quite a bit because no one I play it with actually ended up liking it, except for me. So that is Black Angel. I know what game you thought. You were thinking there was something else.
Yeah.
But no, Black Angel, and this box cover just still looks so cool.
Yeah,
I think the ship kind of looks stupid, but cool at the same time. I don't know. Like, it's like, so this is a I guess like a reimagining of the Twa game with the dice worker placement, but the dice aren't necessarily yours, so whatever you roll, people can pay you to use them, which I really like. I think some people don't like that because they're like, these are my dice. It's like, no, you have to have them. Like, no one's dice. You just happen to roll them. But I played this cat to see. I was like, hey, I wonder if she would change on it. She still doesn't care for it, but I think it's a blast. Like, so what you do is you roll dice and you're trying to essentially get the Black Angel to whatever planet they call it, Ice or Eris, or not. It's not Earth. The theming is that humanity has fucked over Earth. Surprise, surprise. And you're trying to find a new settlement for humans. So you actually play as robots, maintaining and taking care of the ship, ensuring that it gets to where it needs to go. And yeah, whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. And you use these dice to be able to get new technologies, and you have your own little mini game kind of on your board where you slot them in different sections, and you eventually want to get like certain tiles off of your board so you can gather victory points that way. You're getting objective cards that allow you to place them on different planets, and you place robots on those. Some of them give you a new special ability that you can go to, or if it falls off, because it has that same Solaris map where it's like a tiered map thing where like you basically take the top tile and move it to the bottom to represent that you're so you're wanting those objectives to fall off, which can give points if you have robots on them. You're killing reavers that are attacking the ship. There's a lot going on in this game. It is a heavier game than I would say some other games, because it's just, I mean, there is quite a bit, and it doesn't look like it would actually be that heavy, but I think it's a very thinky game, and I enjoy it. So
you know what annoys the hell out of me about this game?
What?
It's about how they put the damn ship over the title.
Oh, they kind of did, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at it, I was like, that's dumb.
I never noticed that. I mean, it's not completely covering it.
I know, it's just weird.
It is a little odd. I think this art cover is gorgeous, and the game has a very like neon like vibe to it. So it's a colorful game. I do think they need at least one expansion, because I know Twa got an expansion. I think this one needs one more just to give it a little bit more to it. Because I wouldn't play this game all the time. As you can see, it fell 39 spaces. No, 39 spaces. Yeah. It fell 39 spaces from being new to last year, but that's because I was playing it a lot. But I don't get this to the table a whole bunch for the reasons I just said. But
Right.
it's still a great game. So yeah, 76, Black
Oh.
Angel.
All right. My number 76 is a game that just barely missed my top 100 the last 2 years. It was like 107 2 years ago, 105 last year.
Oh wow,
And
shot
it
up.
is One Deck Dungeon. Um, this is a small box solo, mainly solo. I mean, you could play it 2 players, but solo is the strength of it, I think. And pretty much it's just strictly you're rolling dice, and there's cards, like dungeon cards. You'll lay out 4 cards and they'll look like dungeon doors, and then you choose
Okay.
one of them and you flip it over, and there's going to be an encounter, whether it's a trap or if it's a monster or whatever. And if you choose to engage with it, there's a certain dice that you have to place on it in order to defeat it. So you'll roll, your characters have certain dice. There's pink, blue, yellow dice and black dice, and you roll these dice and you're placing them on their cards. And if you can cover up enough of the stuff, then you defeat it, and then you gain loot, or you can upgrade your character or whatever. So what you're doing is you're going through, and once you've passed those 4 doors, then you can decide, okay, I want to go to the next level of the dungeon. So you put 4 more out. Those are tougher challenges. And, you work your way out. You're working your way down this dungeon until you get to the big bad, whether it's a dragon or whatever. So you want to be powering yourself up to get down to that thing, and then try to kill it before it kills you. It's a small box game. Pretty simple. There's 2 versions of it. There's this one, the One Deck Dungeon, and then there's the One Deck Dungeon. I think it's like the Forest something. It's the exact same game. It just has more different characters and encounters.
Gotcha.
But
didn't they have a space one? Yeah, One Deck Galaxy.
Yeah, and that one's the newest one. I haven't tried that one, but what's cool about it is that you can see by the cover, like it's exclusively female heroes.
Okay.
There's no male heroes in it at all. Everything is female.
Yeah, okay.
There's an app. There's an app for this. That's a really, really good app. That's how I play it a lot.
Okay.
Just because it's simple, just to flip the phone up and go for it.
Yeah.
But this is a really neat game. I mean, it's simple. It's pretty. The dice are nice, translucent dice that you place down, and it's just a nice, fun little filler game, that you just toss down and go, and pretty neat.
Yeah, so the art cover, like I was looking at it and I was like, the arrow that archer is shooting looks like it's gonna hit that warrior in the knee.
Yeah.
And the entire time I thought that I thought she was pulling a sword from her back.
Oh yeah,
nope.
She's holding up that gate.
She's just holding up the grate, and it's like, where's your weapon? The shield. She's like, these are my weapons.
Well, and depending on what character you pick, they start with different health and different dice.
Okay.
And stuff, and there's an ability like they each have special abilities as well. So
I remember seeing this at Gen Con, and yeah, like they always had like a huge like circle of copies, and I was like, man, should I get this? But I never ended up pulling the trigger.
It's like I don't know, $12 to $15, I think, if you get it online. It's a really cheap game. It's worth it because it's super fun. Did do the app. The app's real cheap, and the app plays identical to the physical version.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right, cool. I'll probably try that then.
Yeah.
Awesome. My 75 is I don't got anything for it. You can go ahead and Sagrada. Sagrada is so good. It's such a good game. It's actually fallen slightly though, but 2019 it was 64, 2018 it was 53, so kind of even chunks of falling, not through any fault of its own. This art cover, every time I look at it, I'm like, man, this is so pretty.
Yeah.
This game is gorgeous in its components and what it tries to do with the translucent dice. This is a dice drafting and I was gonna say dice worker placement. That's not right. Yeah, dice drafting where you are making stained glass windows. It's a heavier game than you would think, and Floodgate kind of tends to do that. They have those themes that no one ever touches on, and you're playing them and you're like, oh, okay, it's about making stained glass. That sounds nice and cute. And then you're sitting there and you're like, okay, how do I place this dice? That's all I have available. Because what you do is you have your little board that you slide a pattern in. And whenever you place dice, they have patterns on, okay, only certain colors can go in this slot, or only certain numbers can go in this slot, or anything can go here. But whenever you're building, you can only build adjacent to a die that you've already placed unless you utilize some of the special abilities that are out. You can only use those limited, so you have to be pretty smart about how you want to use them. You also have secret objectives. You're trying to go for certain colored dice, but there's also public objectives out where it's like you want you get points for if each column has a 6 die in it. It's not just take the die that you want and place it. You want to do that while also trying to keep in mind some of the other objectives. There's a lot going on in this game. They've supported it really well with a lot of mini expansions that just add just a little bit more to it to keep giving it like a breath of fresh air. It's great. Like I think Sagrada is Floodgate Games' best game that they've made.
Yeah, probably.
So, because I don't believe, I mean, I might be eating my words later, but because they've also done.
Did they do Vault Wars?
They did do Vault Wars. Yeah, Vault Wars ended up being 109 for me.
Yeah, this one's better than Vault Wars, I believe.
Vault Wars is super fun as with its concept and everything, but I think as a game, I enjoy Sagrada a lot more. Their newest one, Holy Festival of Colors, has a similar vibe where it's like there's more depth than what the game actually is about. But Sagrada, of course, just I think I really like dice drafting. So yeah, that's my 75, Sagrada.
All right, my number 75 was my honorable mention last year, my 101.
Oh wow, okay, jumped up. Nice.
Bargain Quest.
Nice.
Mainly because I've played it more, and with the expansions, because I have all the expansion stuff, and I finally started playing with some of those. The sunk
this is my
cost,
117.
The sunk cost. Newest one was a good one. This is just, it's got a unique theme, and I think that's why it just keeps going up there. I like the little solo variant that they have that comes with it and stuff. But it just kind of catches you, as you play it. It's just, with the theme being what it is, you're just trying to sell stuff to the adventurers that come to town, and it's unique that way. I don't know. Whoever came up with the idea for this and made it work logistically was
right,
which I guess that would be Jonathan Ying, since he designed the game. but yeah, I mean, I had heard about this when I was on Kickstarter. I didn't back it on Kickstarter. I bought all my stuff on retail, but after
that was the smart move, apparently, because retail copies of the box is a legitimate size box, whereas I'm so mad. I'm gonna have to buy this fucking game just so I can get a decent sized box.
Yeah.
Maybe I can email Renegade. Maybe I can email and be like, hey, I bought a copy of Bargain Quest, but the box is broke or something, or like, hey, it's broke because it doesn't fit everything, you fucks.
Yeah. Well, mine.
I'm gonna email Jonathan Ying personally.
I don't think mine fits everything since I got the sunk costs now. I don't think it.
This is the size of the box. Like, it's tiny. It's tiny. I hate it. It's heavy though. Has a lot of in it.
Well, it's because all them damn dashboards, because those are all pretty solid.
Oh, those are so neat though. Yeah. The different store themes. Yeah, what makes Bargain Quest really good is that you essentially win if your guy does well. So if you draft the guy and you're like, okay, hopefully I'm gonna equip him with these items, and he hits the monster, you get points for it. If he kills the monster, you get points for it. but like they can also die, and then you have that implication of like, oh shit, I sold him a stick. Why did he take it? He went to fight Cthulhu with a stick and a rock.
Yeah.
Every other adventurer had magic and blades.
Yeah.
Barton Quest is great.
Yep. That's my 75. It's a good solid game, and it climbed this time. We'll see what it does next time.
Nice. My number is new to the list, and one that I should have tried way earlier, but I was able to get a new and fully like all the expansion copy of it, and then I backed the latest Kickstarter, and that is Thunderstone Quest.
Yes.
Oh man, AEG man, with all their card games, it does it for me. Like the card, like the variety of high card games, like where it's like, oh, pick whatever. It's unlimited replayability. And Thunderstone Quest, I've never played Advanced, so I can't compare the two, but this one is a lot of fun. Like with the market of just any type of magic or traits and weapons that you can go, items that you can get, and then you actually have in your deck different types of heroes that can level up, and you equip these items onto them. So then that you can go into the dungeon, and depending on the light level you have, you can move forward and kill monsters. And you're essentially running through these monsters until a certain number of keys show up. And then once that happens, then the final boss comes in, and then you have one more go round to be like, okay, to try and hit it for as much damage as you can to score a certain number of victory points.
Right.
Just the sheer amount of content for this game. I mean, the boxes are like this big, and you have 2 of them because you have different areas that you can go to, all the different dungeon tiles. So many cards. I couldn't imagine sleeving this game. That would be insane. And then they just released another expansion. Like, well, not released, but went on Kickstarter for another expansion. Because I guess there's technically a campaign. Barely, but
it's loose.
There is a scenario book, and that kind of tells you when you're playing it. It kind of tells you why there's certain heroes and why there's certain items. So it is a loose game, but yeah. And then I've tried the solo mode. The solo mode is really good too. I think it's barricades mode that they have tokens you draw, which will damage different areas in the village that prevent you from going there. I will say this game was extremely confusing starting out, because it's like, where do I put because you have a miniature for your character, or for you or whatever, and you just kind of you can do a village action, then do a dungeon action. But at first I was like, well, how do you buy cards? Well, you can just do that. But you can do like basically the locations that you go to are just like a bonus thing to a regular action. If you have a lot of one resource, you can go like money. You can go down and buy a legendary artifact that goes into your deck. It's really fun. I mean, it's new to the list because I just got my copy this year, but yeah, and it jumped this high up. So that's my number 74, Thunderstone Quest.
All right. My number 74 is a sports game. It was number 78 2 years ago. It was 27 last year.
Oh God.
And I think the reason is because I want to play it. It has a really good solo mode, but I need to play it with other people. I think it's funner with other people.
All right.
That's the Baseball Highlights 2045. It plays good solo. I mean, like I said, it's a good solo deal. But a game like this, it's funner when you're actually playing against another human, because of when you do that card flip and just seeing if it's, if you're screwing them over by, playing the card that's good against cyborgs or whatever. It's
I see.
It's just a funny experience. Me and Chad used to play this all the time together, and it was just hilarious, some of the stuff that would happen. But they have so many different teams with this. Like, I have every single team available the international teams, everything for it.
Yeah.
And it's just a starting deck, and then you buy cards as you play through a series, because pretty much what you're doing on this is you're just playing like a best of 7 series is pretty much what it is. And then after each quick game, then whatever cards you played, there's these little number on the corner of the card, and that's the amount of money you have to spend on free agents to add to your deck. The good thing is any of those free agents that you add to your deck automatically go on top of your deck. So
that's nice.
So you know that they'll be used in the next game. But the other people also know that they're going to be used, because this is a whole bluffing thing, because there are cards that it's almost, I hate to say paper, rock, scissors, because it's not that simple, but there are certain cards that will totally blank out a cyborg. There's certain cards that'll totally, overpower other things. But it's just a really fun beer and pretzels almost type game, and the component quality is really awesome. The little board and the meeples that you do. There's some things you'll use base running rules. Like I think it's the white pawns will move just like an average runner, and blue pawns will move 1 extra base because they're fast.
All right.
Or the red one does, and then blue is slow. Whatever, I can't remember the color deal, but you just go through.
Is there a board?
Yeah, there's a little board that has like a diamond, like a baseball diamond, and you put your meeple, the pawns there, and as you like, you play a card that'll say single whatever, and then they'll play a card, and then you compare them, and then it'll say, like, if it says out, then they get out. If there's 1 out, then they'll count as an out, and you'll move a single, and you're just trying to go through, and it's all card based. Everything's cards. It's one of those games, like, you need to see it played, because it's kind of hard to figure, understand how it plays until you've actually went through a quick round. The game doesn't take very long at all. It's minor deck building. But it's just a really fun game. They've put a lot of stuff into it. The art's pretty cool on the cards, because it's kind of like a retro looking futuristic game. But yeah, Baseball Highlights 2045. It's really good. There's also an app for it as well. That plays pretty good. So.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to try that one, because I think I've been seeing the guy on social media.
Trophy.
With the trophy, yeah, whatever his name is. He won some tournament 10 years ago, and at this point, it's a participation trophy. He shows up, and they're like, "Here you go, man! You win."
And the football version of this is good, but the baseball's still better.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My number 73 is a game that you actually kind of talked about earlier, but not as on your list yet. It is new to the list, which was surprising. I thought it was on the list last year, but I guess not. And that is A Feast for Odin.
Yes.
This is the one that you talked about whenever you mentioned Caverna, another Uwe Rosenberg game. The only Uwe Rosenberg game on my list that I am aware of. I haven't played a whole bunch of his. One of them that I actually do own is his Polyomino. I mean, he's the Polyomino guy. And the one that I do own is Indian Summer, which is in that same trilogy as
Cottage Garden.
There was Spring Meadows, and then the other one.
Cottage Garden, something like that.
Cottage Garden, yeah. And they're fine, but this one has that heavy Euro theme to it, with so many different actions. I mean, you look up on Board Game Geek, like any pictures for it, that it will. It could be extremely overwhelming, just because. I mean, literally, I'm looking at one of the pictures right now. Like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 categories of actions that you can do, and each one of those has like at least 4 different action slots that you can do. So that's 40 technically different actions that are available to you. Now, this game has that stigma to it of like 40 actions, and so no one ever plays it, but it's not as heavy as you think it is. I mean, for some people, I think that they want to be efficient in everything. They're like, I want to understand all of it. I want to do everything. And it's like, well, you can't. Like, pick a strategy and go down that lane and then see if it works for you. But yeah, so you have your own player board that you're basically trying to use these actions to gather resources to be able to play and buy the polyominoes to be able to put them into your spot and cover like all the negative boards, because you're essentially building, like you're trying to cover those to get the least negative points possible. You can also go out and raid islands, which it's going to give you points, because essentially like the islands have a coin value or like a point value. Like I'm looking at one that says Iceland and it says 16, but there's 16 negative ones on it. So you're trying to cover those up with different polyomino styles, and therefore you net points instead of if there's only 2 negative ones, then you got 14 points. This is don't get me wrong, this is still a heavy game. Probably his heaviest, if I had to guess. But it is just so good. And the only reason I ever got it was because at a local game store that they had the expansion, the Norwegians expansion, which just add more to it. And I remember that being extremely hard to find. So I was like, oh, gotta buy these.
Right.
So, yeah. And I think, I can't remember, did they announce a second expansion to this? There's the Norwegians. I think that's it.
The Norwegian's the only one that's out, but there's another one I think they were.
It added, about. Yeah, you're right. I actually think I own that as well. They have I think like a player power expansion. I can't remember, but yeah. So, Feast for Odin. Just check it out. Don't let the stigma get to you. It's not that bad. Like I can think of heavier games that are worse than this one. So it's a lot of fun. My number 73, Feast for Odin.
Good choice. My number 73 is a game that I need to play more. It would probably be higher ranked if I did. It's new to the list, and it's Seventh Continent.
Awesome.
This one is one that I've barely scraped the surface of. I understand. I mean, I can tell that it's a good game, and I know that's why it's on the list. Is because I just need to get it played more to get more into it. Because right now I'm still on the first curse. So
me too.
Yeah, and it's
like I've played it a ton. I'm still on the first curse.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't even touch the new Kickstarter for because I have the Seventh Continent and then the What Goes Up, is that what it's called? So I have those, and God, I mean, I'm never gonna get through all the content in those boxes. So it's one of those things. Like this one has the potential of raising quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about Seventh Citadel.
Yeah, that's the one I didn't touch because I, I'll never get to it.
I did. I was like, I gotta have all of that.
Yeah. But this one is just it's the epitome of a solo game sandbox. You're just kind of going through and doing whatever the hell you want and dying about as many times as you can. I mean, I remember the very first time I got this, I opened it up, and I think it was like the first or second tile I put down, I died. Because I tried climbing some stupid cliff or something, and I failed and died.
You just fell and died.
Yeah, so it's like, so yeah. So, it's just one of those things like you can tell they put a lot of work into this game, and I just need to get it played more. but it's the epitome of a sandbox solo game for sure.
Yeah, this one, well, with this one, this is a survival game.
Right.
Like, it's sandbox survival, where I've heard Seventh Citadel is more sandbox adventure. So it's not as crucial. Like, the one thing that, if I remember seeing when this game was brand new, people are like, man, we keep losing and we keep dying. What do, like, any hints, tips, or tricks? And everyone would be like, hunt, 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 hunt. Anytime you can hunt, hunt. Because that's going to give you your food. And if you can cook it, if you're on a space with a fire, you can cook it, and that constantly replenishes the adventure deck. Allows you to not have to worry about curse cards.
Right.
So, and that was a mistake that we never did. We're like, oh yeah, we don't need to hunt right now. Not thinking like, oh, we're stranded on this island. We probably should eat. But yeah, I mean, I would play this game a lot more as well. But I'm doing the first curse with a friend of mine, and since I moved, we don't get to game as much. And every time we have gamed, we've been trying to record other stuff. So yeah, we're going through the first curse together, and then probably after that one, I'll either do another one with Kat or just do them by myself, and I'll be able to play them a lot more. But yeah, I'm very excited for the next one.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's this one. It may jump up next year. It may stay right where it's at. You never know.
Yeah. All right. My number 72. I'll skip one. My number 72 has actually fallen quite a bit. Not from really last year, but from 2018. In 2019, it was 51. In 2018, it was 24. This is a game I actually had everything for. Never played it. Sold it all for a shit ton of money, and then ended up buying the base game back because that's really all you kind of need for it, and that is Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
This one is good. And yeah, like I said, like I had every expansion for it, but it made it extremely cumbersome to even teach new people. It just bloated it more than I felt like it was worth. So I was like, oh, okay, everything's out of print and people are paying an exorbitant amount of money for it, so I'll just sell it. And then got the base game back, and I've played it recently, and I was like, yep, this is enough. This is good. Battlestar Galactica is a fantastic IP that was done by Fantasy Flight. It incorporated the show, I think, almost perfectly. Where this is a hidden trader game, like one person. And they've done it in a way that I don't think any other game has done, where at the beginning of the game, you don't know if someone is a traitor. Like, someone could be a Cylon, but you don't know. And then at halfway through, the players are trying to basically warp to different planets. And I think once you get a total number of like a total of 8, which off of the planet cards, then they win. However, once way through, there's another deck of sleeper cards that gets shuffled and dealt out, and one of those, like if the first 4, let's say it's like a 4-player game, or whatever, however many there are, depending on number of players. But if the first half didn't have a Cylon, then you know for sure at this point someone is a Cylon, but you don't know who. In fact, you could not be a Cylon at the beginning and then be a Cylon at the end, so you now have to change strategy, and then you're like, oh shit, like I have to try and get everyone to fail, but no one knows who it is. This amount of tensity and stress is just amazing, because they also each you go on there's like objectives that you're trying to complete, and a great thing that they've done is you have a hand of cards, and each objective requires a certain number of cards that can be played that are positives towards the objective, and then any other color that's not there is a negative, and you're trying to hit a number. Well, everyone puts in however many cards that they want to. I think they can put in a max of 2 each with values on them, but then 2 cards get put in from a random deck. And if it fails, you don't know where those cards came from. And you're like, okay, well, like I know what I put in, but I don't know if anyone put in to make it fail, because there's the 4 dials: population, fuel, food, and morale. And if any of those hit 0, the Cylon player wins. It is such a good hidden trader game. Like, and if like I would say don't get bogged down with trying to get every expansion. The base game does everything that I just explained. If you want more, I think the Pegasus one is the only one that you should probably get.
Is that the first expansion?
I think so.
Because it's the first expansion. I was going to say, if you need anything, that's the only one I would get, because that adds the plastic ships.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The Pegasus expansion was the first one. Came out in 20...
it adds the extra ship that you can go and board on. Yeah. That one is okay. It adds a lot, but I would stop at that.
Exactly. Yeah. I completely agree. Now this one might fall off because Fantasy Flight, I've heard, is because they lost the IP, the Battlestar, but I've heard they're making exactly this game, but in the Cthulhu universe. So I hope that if it's this game, but in a Lovecraft theme, this will probably just come off altogether.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they do. But yeah, that's my number 72, Battlestar Galactica.
All right. My number 72 is a brand new to my list. It's a brand new game from this year. If I would have played it more, it would probably be a lot higher than what it is, and that is Tidal Blades. Wow.
Nice.
This one just caught me from the very first time I've played it. I mean, I went into it with such high expectations that it really could have only disappointed me, but it didn't. It was everything I thought it was going to be. It's so many decisions. It just fits me, like the worker placement style, the dice rolling, the type of spaces that they laid out. It's just not generic. You place a worker there. Oh, you get that. You get that plus whatever arena or area you go into, and it's and then you can also try to do complete stunts and different stuff, and there's just so much to this game, and then it's so pretty, and then as you're passing stuff, you get to upgrade your character to give you more the ability to roll more dice or to do more of this or that, whatever. I mean, it's just
special character cards.
Yeah, there's like they could have easily had just made this a super beautiful game, and gameplay could have kind of fell to the back burner, but it's not. Like the gameplay somehow still outdoes the art.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, and then throw in just the deluxe version components and storage and everything. It's just this one, like I said, I mean, it could have easily been a top 30 if I would have played it more.
Right.
Right. So I only see this one going up as the time goes, but it's just neat, the world they created. And everything is neat.
I read a little bit of the lore that came with the art book, and I was like, this is a really cool world. Like, I'm excited to see them expand upon it. And I will say, did you get the art book?
Yes.
Like the lore book? I would take some time and read at least the first half where they talk about like the history behind each of the sections on the map. Because that gave it a little bit more depth when you're going there, because you just kind of had you were in on it. You're like, oh, okay, right. I'm going to the gladiator arena, or I'm going to the racing section where the games are, the Olympic Games, or I'm going to go to the reef and fight the monsters. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, but yeah, this one is definitely a winner this year for sure.
Yep. I agree. Right? Yeah, that's actually you. That's your second Druid City game. I think they've only made two.
Sorcerer City was the other one.
Yeah. All right. And the last one for this segment at number 71 is new to the list as well. And just it's new to the list, and it's the version that I have is actually new in 2020, but I think it was a 2019 game. And that is Gugong, specifically the deluxe edition, because it also added. Oh man, this is probably the best deluxe edition I've seen. It is sexy. There's no other word for it. It is sexy. Gugong is a fantastic. Man, it's not really worker placement, card placement, I guess, because the game is about exchanging gifts, and there's different locations on the map that start out with a numbered gift, and to do an action at that location, you have to trade of something with a higher value to be able to do it. And then sometimes the card you play also has a secondary action that you can do. It has like a top and a bottom action, but lots of different avenues for scoring victory points. You can build the Great Wall. You can send your ship out. You can collect jade. You can get special end game abilities. You can travel. You can move up on like the well, you have to move up on like the there's like a stair section. You have a little pawn that has to actually make it to the end. Like if you're the first one there, you're going to get a lot of points, but if you don't make it there at all, then you cannot score. So the uniqueness is that card placement, because you'll have a hand of cards and you'll be like, I can't go anywhere. And I mean, you do have your own workers, but you have more of a pool of them and they don't get placed on the board. But you're sitting there and it's like, okay, well, like, for example, if there was an 8 on the board and you didn't have a 9, you still can replace that you still can play a card that's lower, but you have to spend workers to be able to do that. So, but to do it for free without having to spend workers, then you just play a higher value card and you swap them. So it's like if I had a 9, you play the 9, in that spot you take the 8, it goes into your discard pile. So the next round you'll have the 8. And then there's also like there's a day and night phase, and then at the night phase you take up the cards that you pick, and if you have any sets of them, you get victory points. And then if whoever has the most sets gets to be first player. There's a lot of decisions to make in this one, and I could not talk highly enough about the deluxe edition. That velvet burgundy box, the game trays, that everything is just thick cardboard, great tokens. It's a beautiful piece, and I was pleasantly surprised. The what is it, Pangan? The Pangan expansion for it is a modular expansion. Pangan. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but it was a modular expansion that added like 4 different things. One was just more different types of gifts that you can play with, and then 2 of them were different sections that you can go to. We played for the run through with the Summer Palace that just added different ways to score, and then also some different types of workers that you can get. And also gives a little bit more weight to, like, the Emperor has a favorite gift, so if you play that, you get a little bonus. I very much like it. So that is my 71 Gugong.
All right. My number 71 was 72 years ago.
Oh wow, okay.
Was 26 last year, and now is 71. Jeez. And I know exactly why it fell back down. And that is Village Attacks.
You realize it's a bad game.
No, it's not.
I get it.
What happened? See, what I have of this is I have the base game, and then because I think it was like the base Kickstarter pledge that I bought off of somebody. Okay. So when this last Kickstarter came out with the Grim Dynasty, I didn't do any of the Grim Dynasty stuff, but I got all those other expansions that fit with this version that was the non-Asian themed, because I've played this enough that I've went through all the stuff that that I have currently with what I have, like the scenarios and stuff. So I just haven't been playing it because I've already done everything. So I'm waiting to get all that other stuff, because once I get like the horrors of the sands, and then all those other expansion boxes and stuff that add more stuff, then it'll be hitting the table again. You know, it's just one of those things. I just kind of played out what I have until I get the other expansion stuff. This game, just real quick, is just it's almost like a tower defense in a way, but the unique thing is that you play the bad guy. They're the monsters, and so the villagers and heroes are coming in trying to destroy the heart of the castle, and you are killing or scaring off or whatever anybody that's coming into your castle to try to take you out. The cool thing with it is it has some pretty unique character monsters that you play. You know, like I always play like the headless horseman guy.
Okay.
But then they have Baba Yaga and just all these different things. It's kind of neat just because the way the heroes will have an affinity for going after certain types of monsters. So they'll like lock on like a nemesis kind of in a way. So they'll beeline right towards you sometimes in different odds and ends. So I like it just because it has a unique theme, you know, where you're the bad guy protecting your evil castle against the good guys. They're barreling in. Like I said, I just need to get that other stuff I bought, all the extra stuff, so that I can get it to the table again to see if it bounces back or not. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with it.
I don't like this game. Man, and you're right. I mean, everything you said about it is tower defense. It is an awesome theme. Bunch of different monsters, like from all different types of mythology and whatever the other word is, but like folklore. That's it. But man, it's just too random for me. And with the heroes, not the heroes are kind of cool, but the peon villagers, like it's just extremely fiddly. Like not all scenarios are good, and you don't. I mean, the first like I think there's like 10 total in the base game, and the first 5 are a tutorial. Like, hey, so it's like you don't even have 10 individual ones; you have 5. And I just felt it was too random because it's like I didn't roll any attacks, so I guess the villagers are going to keep swarming because I had no way of actually killing any of them. Just don't want that out of tower defense.
Yeah. So we'll see when I get that other expansion stuff, what happens with it, you know. There's a lot of games that are, you know, I think we've talked about a couple other tower defense games that are coming out or stuff I'm looking forward to. So we'll see if things change with this one or not. But yeah, my 71's Village Attacks.
All right. And that is it for this segment, everyone. I cannot wait to keep talking about more great games in the upcoming segments. Let us know what you think of these games in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.